you're doing division of decimals, the way to work it out can be different in its complexity depending on the numbers themselves, whether the numbers are both decimals, whether only one is a decimal, to how many decimal places each number is. All of these can increase the length of time it takes for you to work the answer out. But as long as you use a sensible method, which I'm going to show you, and you stick to the method, you will get the answer eventually. You can test the answer out and see whether you get the test whether you get the correct answer. So after you've worked it out, you get your answer. You can test it to see whether or not it's the correct answer. Okay, so we'll start with the first example. First example I have here is 4 and the number 32.80. Okay. You can put just 8 there, doesn't matter. 32.8 divided by 4. Okay, this is the first example. Just like with any division, first you look at 4. Does 4 go into 3? Can you divide 3 by 4? Well, to get a whole number, no. So you look at 32. 32. Can you divide 32 by 4? 4 times what equals 32? One number close to 32. You got an answer in your head? 4 4 is 16, 4 5 is 20, 4 6 is 24, 4 7 is 28, 4 8 is 32. Okay. 8. So this is using the way to solve it long division that I've shown you before. And I like this method better for illustration and for working out because you can see each step and pinpoint any error that you might have made along the way. There are other ways to do long division, but I find that this is the clearest and simplest way to do it, even though it might take a bit longer when you're writing it out. That's okay, as long as you get to the correct answer and you have the correct working out. So 8 times 4, 32. Right? What we do here, we also do here. Subtract that. 8 minus 0 is 8. Keep the decimal place there. 32 minus 32, that's 0. Okay. Does 8 go into 8? Now, seeing as 8 can't go into 0, obviously. So as soon as we cross the decimal point, you know we'll cross the decimal point. Let's put the decimal point over there. See what I've done? Okay, now we look at the 8. Does 4 go into 8? Yes, 4 goes into 8 2 times, right? 4 2s are 8. 4 2s, 8. So once you've got your placement, once you've got 0 point, then everything proceeds as normal, just as if you're dividing normal numbers. So 4 2s are 8. You write the 8 down there, right under this 8. And then you just fill in the blanks. That's 0. There's a decimal place there. 8 minus 8 is 0, right? So you've got nothing here. 0. That's subtracted. And what answer do you get when you add these two? 8.2, right? 8.2. Just going by the columns. 2 on this side of the decimal place. 8 plus 0 is 8. So 8.2. So your answer is 8.2. Okay, now is the test. So your test, this is if you have time, 2 things you can do when you run this test. Under 2 conditions. 1 is if you have the time, and 2, if you feel like maybe you did something wrong, you're not sure, you seem to have followed the correct method, but your answer, you're not sure and you have a bad feeling. Okay, test it. So the answer, if 32.8 divided by 4 is equal to 8.2, then if you multiply these two, you should get this answer. So 4 times 8.2 should give you this answer. Let's see if it works. Because if that's the answer you get, then 8.2 really is the correct answer. Okay, so on the top, 8.2. Let's switch colors. So 8.2 multiplied by 4. 4 times 2 is 8. We're crossing the decimal place. This one here. Put the point there. 8 fours are 32. 32.8. Is that the same answer we had here? The number we were trying to divide to begin with? Yes, exactly the same answer. So you know you've checked it. That is most likely correct. Okay, on to the next one. Okay. Now with slightly more numbers to deal with. 350.6 divide by 2. See, these first examples, they are examples where you're dividing by a whole number. So only one of the two numbers is a decimal, but the number you're dividing by is a whole number. And it's a whole number that's less than 10. Okay. Does 2 go into 3? We'll take it one at a time, one step at a time. 2 go into 3? Yes. So 1 time, right? 2 ones are 2. We know 2 twos are 4, that's too much. 2 ones are 2, right? Fill in the zeros here. Same number of zeros you added there, 1, 2, decimal point, and 0. So 1, 2 zeros, decimal point, another 0. That's good. You subtract that. 6 minus 0 is 6. Keep the decimal point. 0 zeros is 0. 5 minus 0 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. Sorry, let me try and align the columns, which is quite important when you're dealing with decimals. Okay. Now we get to 150. Does 2 go into 1? No. Does 2 go into 15? Yes, 7 twos are 14. Okay, 7 twos are 14. Fill in the zeros. 0.0. Same thing over here. 0.72. Sorry, my error. 7. I shouldn't have put 2 here. 7 twos, 14. 0.0. Subtract that. 6 minus 0 is 6. 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Right. We're down to 10.6. Does 2 go into 10? Yeah, 2 times 5. That's one of the easiest ones you can think of. Okay, 2 times 5. 10. 2 5s are 10. Put in the zeros. Okay, subtract that. So you get 0.6. 6 minus 0 is 6. Put the decimal point. 10 minus 10, 0. Correct. Always, if there's no number that comes before the decimal point here, always put a 0 there as the placeholder. Okay. Sorry, that's not very straight. Now, as soon as you've got 0 point and it's divided by a whole number, then you know you're going to get into tricky territory. So 2 into 0 can't go, obviously. As you cross the decimal point here, you also cross the decimal point. Does 2 go into 6? Yeah, 2 3s is 6, right? 2 3s are 6. Again, fill in the fill in the zeros. So when you're doing the multiplication, make sure you're aligning all your answers, right? So 2 times 0.3 is equal to 0.6. Minus that, get nil, nothing left. Now, I haven't really aligned this, but if you look at first decimal point, 0003, okay, 3. The ones column, so first decimal point being the tenths, right? Ones column, the units here, 0050. 5. Then the tens column, 0 7 7. And then the hundreds column, you have 1, nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. So 175.3. 175.3. Okay, let's test it just like before. 175.3 times 2. 2 times 3 is 6. As you cross the decimal point, put the point there. 2 times 5 is 0, carry 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus this 1 you carried over, 15. So you put 5, carry 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus that 1 you carried over, 3. So this was the test. 2 multiplied by the answer we had got before to check if we get back to the number that we had started with. 350.6, same as 350.6. Yes. So yeah, we've checked it. On to the third one. Okay, the third one. $50.801 divided by 5. Even though it's unlikely at this point you'll get a number as complicated as that for your division, once you get the method of how to do it, it doesn't matter how many decimal places you get to. As long as you keep your working out neat, very clear, and able to check back later to see where you might have taken a misstep, then you can still get the correct answer. Okay. 5 go into 5? Yes. Easy one. 1, right? 5 times 1 is equal to 5. Fill in the zeros. 0 here. There's a 0, 0, 0. Okay, same thing here. 0.000. And if you subtract that, you get 801. 0.801. Okay. Does 5 go into 0? No, it doesn't. Crossing the decimal point, so you put it down here. Does 5 go into 8? Yes, 1, right? 5 ones are 5, 5 twos 10, that's more than 8. So 5 ones are 5. That's what you can use. 5 ones are 5, and you put the 5 right under that 8. Okay? Fill in the zeros. Fill in the 0 before. And fill in the 2 zeros after. And of course, keep the decimal point in the same place, right? So the two decimal points after you put the decimal places, zeros. Fine, so now you subtract that. 1 minus 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 8 minus 5, 3.0. 0.301. Again, 5 doesn't go into the 0, so we know where the decimal point. Does 5 go into the 3? No, it doesn't. Add a 0. Now we're looking at this. Does 5 go into 30? Yeah, 5 goes into 36 times. 5, 6 are 30. So 6, 30. Keep the 30 nice and neat under. Right. Now you fill in all the zeros. 0 before the decimal point, 1 0 after. This one you can put 1 0 after. Again you subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. And after that it's all 0. 3 minus 3, 0.0. So now you're left with a very small number, 0.001 divided by 5. Okay. 5 doesn't go into 0, you've got the decimal point. 5 doesn't go into the first one, at the decimal point. 5 doesn't go into the second one, at the decimal point. 5 doesn't go into the third number, at the decimal point. Now, you don't end there. Remember, there are all these zeros that come after that we don't write down, right? So we can add 1 0 after. Does 5 go into 10? We know 5 didn't go into 1, but does 5 go into 10? Yes. 2 times. 5 2s are 10. Right? Now we fill in all the zeros. 0 before, point, and then a 0 there. Here we don't need to add another 0. We didn't add any zeros after on this side, so it's fine. That is exactly the same number as that, so if we subtract, we end up with 0. Now if we just add everything by column, so this is the tenths. Right? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. And then the fourth place will be the 10,000ths. 2. And 3 decimal places before. This is 0. 2 decimal places before. 0, 0. 6, then the one just before the decimal point, 0 plus 1 plus 0 plus 0, it's just 1. Then you hit the decimal point, and then we have 10, because this is just 0, 0, and 0, and that's 10. All right, so according to this, the answer is 10.1602. Okay. Now we test. Can you see this? Right. 10.1602 times 5. Right? We're multiplying these two numbers to see if we end up with this number. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry 1. 5 times 0, 0. Bring down the 1. 6 times 5 is 30. 0. Carry 3. 5 1s are 5. Plus 3 is 8. 6 5s are 30, 0, 5 1s are 5, 6 7 8. All right. Then we get to the decimal point. Sorry, I was just rechecking that. So 5 1s are 5 plus 6 7 8. Right, 8. We get to the decimal point. Crossover. 5 zeros are 0. 5 1s are 5. What do we get? 50.8010. Does it match this one? 50.801. Is it the same if you have an extra 0 here and just ending in the 1 up there? Yes, it's exactly the same number. This number here has a million zeros after. We don't show them. The fact that this one is showing because we did this calculation this way doesn't matter. These two numbers are exactly the same. So this answer is to be correct. So the test is 5 times the answer you got before after your division should get you back to the starting point. Okay. Now that I've shown you how to divide decimals, we can go on to the 3 questions that are in the maths worksheet. The first worksheet for term 1, activity 22. First question is 6.26 divide by 2. Okay. First number, does 2 go into 6? In other words, can you divide 6 by 2? Yes. 6 can go, 2 can go into 6 3 times. So 2 times 3 is equal to 6, right? 2 times 3 equals 6. And like I showed you, fill in the decimal point and all the zeros. There's a decimal point here. Keep it nice and clean there. 2 zeros there as placeholders. So same thing you do here. Put the decimal point. Don't forget the decimal point. If you've done it here, also do it here. Okay. 6 minus 0, 6. 2 minus 0, 2. 6 minus 6, 0. So 0.26 is what you're left over with. What's left over and what you're left with? 2 go into 0? No. So put the decimal point already there. Does 2 go into this first 2 here on the other side of the decimal point? Yes, 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 times 1 is equal to 2. Put it directly under that 2. Right? Fill in the gaps. So fill in the 0 afterwards. Subtract that. 6 minus 0, 6. 2 minus 2, 0. Decimal point, 0 minus 0, 0. Remember, don't end there. You must write the whole thing out, especially when you're dealing with decimals. Do everything. Don't leave out any numbers. Now, 2 doesn't go into 0. Cross the 0 there. This next 0, does 2 go into that? No. Let's put another 0 there. Does 2 go into the 6? Yeah. Just like it went into the 6 up there. Goes into it 3 times. 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Put the 6 right under the 6 there. All right. Fill in the zeros in the decimal point. 0, 0. Subtract that. That number is exactly the same as that number. one number minus the same number is 0. Right, 0. Now to add 3, 1, point 3.13. So your answer is 3.13. Let's test. So the test was this number times the answer you got should give you the number you started out with, the 6.26, right? So that times that. 3.13 times 2. 2 3s, 6, 2 1s, 2. Before we do that, put in the decimal point because you're crossing from that side to that side. Decimal point, 2 times 3, 6. 6.26. Let's check. Is it the same as this? 6.26? Exactly the same number. So that one is the correct answer then. On to the second one. Second one is 24.8 divide by 4. Okay. Have you got your answer now? Right, let's tackle it. Does 4 go into 2? No, it doesn't. Does 4 go into 24? Yes, let's test. For 5s, we know 4 5s are 20. For 6 are 24, right? 6 4 is 24, right? Okay. 4 times 6, 24. Let's write it right exactly beneath that. Got the 6. Now we fill in the decimal places and the zeros. 0.0. So same thing over here. 0.0. Subtract that. Switch colors again. Subtract that. 8 minus 0 is 8. Decimal point. 24 minus 24 is 0. That's what you're left with. Okay. Does 4 go into 0? No, it doesn't. So you put your decimal point down here. Now we deal with the number after the decimal point. Does 4 go into 8? Yes, 2 times. 4 2s are 8. So 2, 4 times 2 is 8. Put it directly underneath that 8. And now we fill in all the decimal points and the zeros. Decimal point, 0. We can put another 0 over here, it doesn't really matter. Minus 0.8 minus 0.8, or 0.8 minus 0.8. Big fat 0. Add this to decimal point 6. Much easier to get the right answer if you align everything. Especially the decimal point should be aligned. All right? So the answer is 6.2. You want to test it? Okay, quick test. Test is always easier than working this out because it's much faster to do multiplication. So test will be this. Right? 4 multiplied by the 6.2. 6.2 multiplied by 4. And we're looking to see whether we'll get the number that we started out with, the 24.8. Right. 4 times 2, 8. Then we're crossing the decimal point, put the point there. 4 times 6, 24. 24.8 is our answer here. Is it the same as what we started out with here? Yes. So, looks like that was correct. On to the third one. These markers are just lovely. 388.40 divided by 8. You realize all the numbers that we are dividing these decimals by are whole numbers less than 10. That's all the 3 examples I've shown you, and they're also the 3 activities that we're going through right now. Dividing by numbers less than 10. Does 8 go into the 3? No? Does 8 go into 38? Okay, 8 fours are 32. 8 fours are 32. Okay, I know 8 fives are 40, so that's too much. 8 fours. Okay, 8 fours are 32. Write it right under. Okay, fill in the zeros. 1 0 there, decimal point, 0 0. So same thing on this side. 0, decimal point, 0 0. Subtract that. 40 on this side, 8, 6, and of course 0. Right, 68.4. 8 go into the 6? No. Does 8 go into the 68? 8 8s are 64. Okay. 8 8s are 64. Fill in the zeros and the decimal point. 0.00. 0.00. All right. Subtract. 4.40. Okay. Now does 8 go into 4? No. Then we have to consider 44, and that's, you're going on to this side of the decimal point. It's straddling, so you must put the decimal point there. So 8 into 44. Yes, 8 fives are 40. 8 fives are 40. Write it right under the 44. 40, 40. Write it under the 44. Okay? Then fill in the zeros and the decimal point. Where this decimal point, once you've aligned these numbers underneath, just put the decimal point exactly in the same place down here. And a 0 after. Right? So put a 0 after. You already have the decimal point there. Alright. Subtract. 0.40 is what you left here, and 0 on this side. Right? 0, 0, left with 0. 4 minus 0, 4. 4 minus 4, 0. 0.40. Feels like we're getting closer. Okay. 8 can't go into the 0, right? Crossing the decimal point, so put that. Let's try to align this, right? 0.50. So 0.50 so that it's nicely aligned. Should have been neater when I started. So we're crossing decimal point. Let's put the 0 underneath here. Point. Can 8 go into the 4? No. So you've got to add another 0. Now you're going to the 10ths column, because now you're looking at 40. Does 8 go into 40? Yeah. 8 5s are 40. Put the 5 there. And 8 5s are 40. Put the 40 directly underneath that first 40, the 40 that's underlined, sorry. Now you fill in the decimal point and the zeros. Decimal point here, it's to the left of the 4. Put the 0 there. Don't need to put any zeros after this. You can, you don't have to. 0.4 minus 0.4, 0. Now if we just follow the decimal point, so this column, then one place to the right of the decimal point is 5 plus 0. And then 8. And then 4. 48.55. Let's put it up there. 48.55. It's always safe to test, right? So if you have time or you're feeling unsure, test. So that's when you're going to multiply the 8 and the 48.55 to see if you end up with this number here. Number you started out with. So 48.55 times 8. 8 5s are 40. 0, carry 4. 8 5s are 40. Plus 4, 44. 4 down here. You carry 4 over. Put the decimal place in because you are crossing. Then 8 8s are 64, plus this 4, 68. So that's 8, carry 6. 4 times 8, 32. Plus this 6, 38. Okay, let's check the number, 388.40. Does this match that? 388.40. Yes, exactly. So that looks to be the correct answer. Sometimes when you're doing these problems, you might not have the space or the time to do a test. But if you feel unsure and you have the time and you've got some scribble paper next to you, then you might as well test it to see whether you have the correct answer. Okay, excellent. Okay, the examples and the activities that we've already worked through only involve dividing by a whole number less than 10. I want to show you an example of, just very briefly as an extra, dividing by a whole number greater than 10. So only one of the two numbers are decimals, but by a number greater than 10. Okay. $175.05, and you divide it by 25. Okay? Now 25, I chose the number 25 because maybe it's a little easier to think about in terms of multiples. How many times does 25 go into 1? Well, can't go. How many times does 25 go into 17? Can't go either. How many times does 25 go into 175? Okay, let's check something here. 25 plus 25 equals 50, right? And 50 plus 50 is equal to 100. So you know in every 100 there are at least 4 25s. So 25 times 4 equals 100. Okay. You can test that on the side. $25 times 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 0, carry 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 9, 10. 100. So 25 times 4 is 100. And we know 25 times 2 is 50. If you want, you can multiply using the same thing. So this 175 is more than 100 and is more than 100 plus 50. And it's more by how much? By exactly 25. So 25 by not 4, not 6, but 25 times 7 is 175. So just what I was saying earlier, maybe to simplify, 25 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 0, carry 1. 2 2s are 4, plus 1 is 5. Right? So 100 plus 50 plus another 25 is equal to 175. And here you have 4 25s, here you have 2 25s, and here you have 125. So all in all, 7, right? 7 times 25 is 175. Okay, let's switch back to blue. So 25 times 7 is 175. Right? Put in the decimal point and your zeros. Same thing over here. Put your decimal point and your zeros. Subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. 0 minus 0 is 0. Put in the decimal point. 175 minus 175, 0. Okay. Now we attack this 5. 25 goes into 0? No. So we've got to cross this decimal point. So we put 0 and your decimal point ready there. I've aligned it with the decimal point on the top, so it's easier to add when we're done. Does 25 go into this 0 here? No. Add a 0 there. Align it with that. Does 25 go into this 5 here? No. Put another 0, align it with that. Now, is that the end of the line? No. We must make sure this comes down to 0 before we can finish with this problem. Now, when you're at the end of the line there, remember, we've got zeros after every number. So let's just create some space here. There's a 0 there. Right? So now we're at this 50. Put in the decimal, the 0 after we couldn't get into the 5. Now we can get into the 50 if we look at these two. 25 go into 50. How many times? 2 times. So you put your 2 there. So 25 times 2 is 50. Put it directly under this 50 there that you've already got there. Zeros and decimal point. Fill them in. Zeros here, decimal point, and 0 there. Subtract. Here we can put a 0 in here. It doesn't really matter. Because there are no extra zeros here. We're already at the thousandths column here. And here it's just at the hundredths. So there's no real need to put any extra zeros. 0.050 minus 0.050 is a big fat 0. You add this, 2. 2. Because that was a 0 there. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.707. Okay, seems like a bit of a weird number, unusual number for you to have got in a problem. A bit suspicious of it. You want to test it. Okay, let's get to the test. Test. That number multiplied by that should get you the number you started with. That's if it's the correct answer. So 7.002 times 25. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry 1. 5 zeros is 0 plus 1. So here. 5 zeros is 0. Get to the decimal point. 5 sevens are 35. You get to this 2 now, so you must add a 0 on the bottom here. 2 twos are 4. 2 zeros are 0. Decimal point, because once you've aligned this side, the decimal point will sit in the same place. 2 zeros, 0. 2 sevens are 14. Add everything through. 4 and 1, it's 5. 0, decimal point is there. 5, 7, and 1. 175,050. Is that the same as this number here that we started out with? You can see it's exactly the same. Don't be worried about this extra 0 on the end. Like I told you, every number after the decimal point, there are a million zeros that go this way. We don't show them. So the fact that one has 1 0 extra there and one doesn't mean there's any difference in their values. Okay? So that means that is correct. And that's the example I wanted to show you. The last thing I wanted to show you in this video is what if the two numbers you're dividing are both decimals. I'll work through one example, and this is just to show you that the way you tackle it is fairly simple. There's a shortcut to it. I'll show you one right now. Okay. So what if 2.48 was divided by 0.4? Okay, one easy way to tackle this is, do you remember if we had 5 divided by 8, for example, and we were trying to simplify that, or even find equivalent fractions? Anything you do to the top, you can do to the bottom. So if you multiply the top by 10 and you multiply the bottom by 10, it'll give you 50 over 80. Yes? This fraction is equivalent to 5 over 8. So the answer from doing 5 divided by 8 is exactly the same as the answer from doing 50 divided by 80. So if you do something to the top, you can do the same thing to the bottom, and the answer is still exactly the same. Okay? But it only works if you do the same thing to the top and to the bottom. Okay, I wanted to point that out because we can do something to one number here and do the same thing to this number, and it will not change the answer that we get. So 0.4 and 2.48. What we want to do is get rid of one decimal, so that only one of these two numbers is decimal. And we can do that by multiplying both of these numbers by 10. So that we can move the decimal place this side, and here the decimal place this side. Right? So that it then becomes 24.8, right? We've moved it. 2.48 multiplied by 10 is 24.8. And the 0.4 multiplied by 10 is equal to 4. Because the decimal place is moved to after the 4. Multiplied by 10. I showed you before what happens, right? When you multiply by 10 with decimals. Okay. So, how do we work through this example? Exactly the same way we work through the other examples. Now, you might not recognize this, but this is exactly the same problem as number 2 from the worksheet that we've already worked through. 24.8 divided by 4. And so you can use that exact working out, get your answer, and then the answer up here will be just the same as before, 6.2. The answer here is 6.2. The answer up there is 6.2 as well. Okay? And of course the working out here, if you don't remember, you can rewind, go back in the same video and you'll find it. And there was complete working out for this. It's okay if you show the exact same working out, the answer is the same. Now, if you want to test it, right? Like before we've done the test, with a 0.4, so this is what we changed it to. But if we go to the original, 0.4 and 2.48. So 0.4, you multiply by 6.2. So 6.2 multiplied by 0.4. And what did I say the hack was for multiplying when you've got decimal places? You can always check later that the same number of decimal places after when you're multiplying, the same number of decimal places after when you've got your answer. 8 fours, 4 twos, 8. 4 twos are 8. And 4 eights are 4 sixes are 24. Okay? And then of course we don't need to do the 0 times 2, 0 times 6 because everything is 0. So it doesn't matter. Now how many numbers do you have after the decimal place? You've got 1 here and you got 1 here. So that's 2. Right? So you count 2 numbers here and then you put the decimal point. 2.48. So decimal point, then you got 2 numbers after. And here too, before you started, 1 decimal point, 1 number after decimal point, another number after decimal point. That was the hack that I showed you before. So just check, is this 2.48 the same as this 2.48? Yes. So that really is the correct answer. If you found the video useful, like and subscribe for notifications.